Thank you so much. Welcome to Life Creates Art. I am Shelley, and today we're going to be talking about do's and don'ts of getting prepared for whatever type of medium you do. Acrylics, watercolors, if you're a sculptor, you're doing oils, all of these are essential do's and don'ts. I mostly work in acrylics, but whatever you work in, let's go. And here we are for 60-second life molding. Just to recap, last week we talked about, the quote was about being happy and making yourself happy. You're the only one that can determine your happiness. So let's get started with this week's 60-second life molding. And I'm gonna pull one. Again, this is completely unrehearsed. I don't know what I'm gonna pull out, the quote, and I have 60 seconds to read it and comment on it. So, opening it up and pushing start. There we go. Your job won't take care of you when you're sick. Your friends and family will. Your job that you do, I have a job outside part-time, outside. I would love to be able to do this full-time, but I know that that is not my primary reason for living. That is not my primary reason for getting up in the morning. What I can give to my friends and what I can give to my family, how I can bless someone's day and make them happy, maybe make them smile. That's what I really, really live for. And I hope you live for that too. I hope you find that every day that you wake up, the people that's surrounding you, and sometimes people that surround you are not so nice. I know that the critics of your art cannot be so nice. But don't let that be the thing that establishes you. Let you determine, let you mold your own life. What life molding is all about. Let you mold your own life. Let your friends and family honor and bless you, and you bless them back. There's the timer again. Bye. Hi, everybody. We're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of art. Really, art preparation, acrylics, watercolor, whatever your medium is, this will help you. Number one, don't get a manicure. Don't wear fancy clothes when you're about to paint, because life is messy. Art can be messy too. So don't go spend $50 getting a nice manicure and getting your hands all soft and your nails all prettied up, because chances are you're gonna get paint in them. I don't like to wear gloves. I don't know about you. I don't like to wear gloves with my art. So I like to get messy. I like to sometimes use my finger when I'm spreading around my acrylics. So also, don't wear fancy clothes. If you want to wear clothes that are fancy, then I suggest you do not paint. You do not sculpt. You wear an apron. I have a half apron here that I wear all the time. And whenever I wear clothes to paint, I know that I'm going to get some paint on them. I'm a messy painter. So I'm going to get some paint on them. So don't wear clothes that you don't want to get messy. Number two, have all your supplies ready before you start. It's important that you have your palette ready, you have your paint set up, you have your brushes ready, you have your canvas up, you have everything, your water cups filled up, you have everything that you need in order to proceed, because what you don't want to do is in the middle of all of that, get frustrated because things are not set up. You don't want to stop the rhythm of your painting. Number three. Do have music that will inspire you. I listen to a lot of Beatles and Elton John and of course the Stray Cats, but I also listen to some classical music. And that leads me to number four. Really, depending on your mood, get your mood ready. Know what kind of painting you're wanting to paint. Know what it's going to involve as far as your mood, because the music that you choose will affect your mood and allow it to. I dance a lot when I paint. I dance, I get really intense, and the music sort of drives me. So get your music ready and get get ready to rock or get ready to be flowy with some classical music, and it will help and inspire your art. Number 5, do invest in some really good brushes. It's important that you allow your paint to flow properly on the canvas, no matter what you're doing with your painting, no matter if it's crafts or if it's on a canvas or if it's on wood or if you're doing watercolor on paper. Your work has to flow well, and having a good set of brushes is important. I handpick all of my brushes. Of course, I bought some in a package, but those are not necessarily my favorite brushes. I guarantee that if you invest in some good brushes, if you go and you handpick different sizes from small to a little bit larger, then you will not regret it, because good brushes can take you a long, long way. Number 6, I suggest that you do invest in some good paints. Now, if you're just getting started, then, you might want to just grab some Craft Smarts. These are about 79 cents at Michael's, depending on where you go. But I don't always use these. I use these to add on. They usually have a lot more colors and things like that. Not my first choice, not my first preference. It could be yours. You just want to get started with something that's going to work for you. I also mainly use the Liquitex Basics. These are the things that I use, again, at Michael's. They're not super expensive, but I have found that they work for me. Other people will find that more expensive paints work better for them. I really think as far as quality is concerned, it's really what you put into it if you don't have to add a lot of water. The rule of thumb is that if you're adding more than 30% of water mixing with your paints, then you're breaking up those molecules, those paint molecules, and they'll separate. And the color won't be, of course, as bright, but also there's an adherence issue with your canvas. But there are also some great looks you can get with acrylic paints when you water it down. You almost get a watercolor look. So just work with it and go with it. But really, it's up to you what paint works best for you. It's a discovery process, which is really what this channel is about too, is discovering your preferences, discovering your way in life, and discovering your art. I also like just the Liquitex Professionals. Again, these tend to be a little more expensive, but as I do commission pieces, mostly portraits, I find that these are the most quality paints that I can get and work with. Here's also stuff I use is Artist Loft. I love the colors, I love the price. Next, I found these Daler and Rowney acrylics at Walmart, and which I just discovered Walmart. I really haven't gone there much in years and years, but I'm going to try these out and see how they are. The price was very reasonable. And of course, when I shop for paints, I'm always putting a little bit on my finger and testing it on my hand. I usually walk out with a bunch of paint on my hand just to see. These are fairly thin, fairly transparent, but these can have a use in things that you want a little more transparent. Number 7, have 2 cups available for your water to rinse out your brushes. One can be for when you really, really want that paint cleaned off of your brush. When you've got most of it cleaned off, you can move to the water that's a little bit more clear, and that helps with not cross-contaminating your paint brushes with different colors. It really gets the brush clean. Here comes number 8. Do not leave your brushes in dirty water overnight. Whenever you can, be cleaning your brushes. Go to the sink and rinse them out and really get that paint out. Otherwise, you'll end up with something like this. This is a great example. You'll end up with a brush that has paint on it that I can't get out. This was probably used for a little bit of oils and I didn't clean it properly, but this is going to cross-contaminate. So I can't use this brush for anything else. I can't use it for white. I can't use it for any yellows unless I want this blue to be spread in there. I can only use this for blue. And so don't leave your brushes. Plus it ruins the brushes it bends them, and you just don't want dirty brushes, and it gets stinky after a while. Ugh. Number 9, have a nice palette for your paint to sit on. Now, again, I'm a work in progress. I have, which has wet paint on it still. I have this plate that I bought a long time ago for 99 cents. And I just keep piling paints on top of it, piling paints on top of it. And that's fine. You know, I've done a lot of great work with paint that's been piled on top of one another. Sometimes I get frustrated, I have to admit, and I'm just done. I'm just done painting. And I have to get up. I have to walk away. Of course, I clean my brushes, but I have to get up and walk away. And sometimes I get angry at my paintings too. And I have to walk away and just separate myself a little bit so I can come back with a fresh perspective. But it's important to have a nice palette. I've got a couple here that, again, look really pretty, but every so often I will buy some new stuff to be able to paint on. Just got this plate yesterday that's going to be really nice. And also a nice smooth palette like this. Get these at Michael's. I think maybe $3 or $4 I paid for this. This was 79 cents. So definitely get some nice palette to have your work on. Now that leads me to the number 10. Be picky about your canvas. When you're first starting, you don't have to be as picky about your canvas because you're practicing. If this is something that's going to be just for you, then go ahead and buy inexpensive canvas. But if you're going to do work that is a commissioned piece or something that you want to give to a family member or a friend, and you've been working really hard on it, be picky about your canvas. Look it over when you're buying it in the store. Sometimes the corners are messed up. Sometimes there's a little scrape in it. And sometimes the grains on the canvas are just too rough, especially with the less expensive canvas. Again, do be picky about your canvas. Number 11, do gesso your canvas for sure. Gesso is something, it's a surface preparation, and really it prepares your canvas so that your paint will flow a little more easily. You can buy it at any art supply store, and I got this one at Michael's. This is Liquitex Professional, and it's gesso. You can see Gesso. It looks like gesso, but it's gesso. And this will help your paint flow a little more easily. And we're going to do a little bit here so you can just see that it's just white. You can thin this out if you want a thinner layer, but again, this just prepares your canvas. It helps your paints to last a little bit longer on the canvas as well. If you don't have any gesso, don't worry about it. Just maybe take a layer of acrylics and lay them across your canvas so it fills in some holes and makes things work a little more smoothly. Number 12, you should work through your mistakes. Continue to work through your mistakes. If you feel like you have made a mistake or put something funny on your canvas and you don't like it, if you're working on a face and you don't like it, continue. It's an important lesson for life too, to continue to work through your problems, to stick it out and be there, be present. I will, yell out a good when my husband usually jumps, but I usually will get upset when I make a mistake. Of course, we all do. We all get upset when we make mistakes. But a side note about acrylics, acrylics are very forgiving paint. They dry fast, you can remove them. Oils tend to be that way too because you can remove them pretty quickly. But acrylics, you can pretty much just paint over your mistake. And oftentimes, as in life, it's the same with your painting. You stick it out, you stick through it, and you keep going. And usually you end up with something a little more beautiful than you had before. And I guarantee that's going to happen to you if you stick it out. 13, do not throw away your canvas if you get upset with it. Set it aside. Let it speak to you when the time is right. Let your mood tell you when the time is right. And it will. This painting that's in front of me, I started probably about 7 years ago. And I got it to this point, and then I just sort of lost the mojo for it. So I'm going to continue to work on this one, even though it's been sitting. I've been carrying it around for those many years, and now I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to keep pressing through this and see what comes up. 14. And I want to talk to you very seriously now, because this is something that artists deal with all the time. They deal with people that want to look at their art and cast their judgment on it. And I don't want you to be moved by those that don't appreciate and don't like your art. Really get to that point, which I'm hoping this channel will help you. Really get to that point where you're honest about your work, and you can judge and you can look at your own work and maybe find one, maybe two people that you really, really trust. Those are the people in your life that you really, really want. It frustrates me to see some of these art pages on Facebook and things. People put their art up for 800 people to comment on, and not all the artists have been nice. And I hate that. I really, really don't like that at all. Because first of all, you have to love your work. Your work is a true expression of who you are. Now, as far as design and things like that, okay. But still, even then, get those couple of people that you really, really trust. And then that way, when you put something out, you know in your heart that that's your work and that's something that you love. And if people don't like it, not everybody's going to like your style. Not everybody likes my style. I'm telling you, not everybody does. I once had somebody walk through my house, and I had all my paintings up, and they were looking and they were just, And then they found one and they said, well, I like that one. And I was just like, whatever. I don't care. I really don't, because I know that everything that was hanging on my walls is an expression of who I am. And I want you to be that way too. And how can you be that way? By just keep going and don't be moved. Learn and express and learn and express. Learn about design. We're going to go through that, but learn about design. Learn about where things sit on a canvas. Learn about colors. All the things that we're going to learn, but really be true to yourself. 15. So learning from other artists, it's important. It's good. You're here on my channel, and I thank you so much. That means that you want to discover and you want to learn more about who you really are as an artist. When I started painting, I started copying a lot of artists, to be quite frank, so that I could learn my own little way of doing things. I copied Thomas Kincaid's, and I did portraits of all of my children and of family members and friends and things like that, just to practice and get stuff out there. And then I would copy some Picasso and things like that. I wanted to get into his mindset, and that's okay. And learning from other artists is okay. Again, on this YouTube channel, you're learning. And I think that that's fine, but don't let what you see be a reflection of you and your abilities. And 16. Just the other day, my husband and I went to an art show over here in town. And I was walking around and I felt myself. I felt that little person that sits on my shoulder start to say, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, you'll never be able to do that, Shelley. And I was comparing myself to other artists. Don't compare yourself. You are a unique individual, and your art is unique to only you. Your fingerprint is the only thing that's on that painting or that sculpture or that clay or that glass work. Whatever is your fingerprint and allow that fingerprint to be yours and uniquely yours. Don't compare. Let them have their beautiful art and you enjoy it. Yes, you can learn from them. We plan on it. I plan on doing that. I plan on interviewing people and trying new things. Try new things, because then when you come back to your art, you will be able to infuse those things into your art. So don't compare yourself. If that little devil on your shoulder tells you you're not good enough, you just tell him to shut up and be quiet and continue on and never, ever quit. Number 17. And for you as an artist, if you're new and you're just dabbling and you don't know where to start, just start. Start sketching. Like I talked about last week, I talk about in my Wednesday ones, just start sketching and start working at that sketchbook and building your talents for drawing. I couldn't draw when I started painting. I could paint better than I could draw, but I have developed that skill just by persistence. Just start. Just do it. If you're a seasoned artist and you're looking to do something different, go for it. Just start doing it and dive in and see what happens. Because I know that I've dived into doing the pours, acrylic pours, which in a couple of sessions, we're going to be working on that too. The acrylic pours, which are so much fun. Also the other kind of pour with the epoxy. And so we're going to be working on those too, but it's so much fun. But is that the kind of work that's going to sell? No, I usually do commissioned portraits, but you know what? I'm having so much fun and it's helping me think about what my backgrounds are and it's helping change my perspective. Just start, just do it. It's not that expensive to go get a little plate and some paints and a few paintbrushes and a canvas and just start. 18. And I encourage you today to find who you are and allow your craft to mold and shape at different times and just keep moving forward, because you are good enough. You're good enough for life and you're good enough for art, because it is an expression of who you are. And don't ever be discouraged. I would love to hear from all of you. I know that there's been a few people that have commented, and thank you for all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate you very, very much. And I welcome new subscribers. Just click the button down below, subscribe, like, and hit the little bell, and it'll let you know. Every Sunday and every Wednesday I put out a new video. Just keep going. And I'm here for you. I would love to hear who's following me and who's just make comments, and so I know where you're watching from and all of that kind of stuff. Would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day and keep moving forward in life and in art. This is Shelley with Life Creates Art, and I thank you, and I will see you on Wednesday, and I'll see you next week. All right, bye. Acrylics, whether you do acrylics or, I'm gonna start again.